right, welcome in to another Mission 1000. I'm Jordan White, and I'm going to introduce my guest here today. This is the Doomswell Brothers. There's the name they say is running the wake surf game. We got Matthew Edmondson, and we've got Brock
Dumois.
Dumois.
Yeah.
Said it right. I said it right.
Yep.
Like I told you before, man, I took Spanish, and so I get tripped up on French names.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
Well, you guys just landed into Utah yesterday, and but you're both from Texas. And
Yep.
what do you got going in Utah?
Man, so we're actually here on business and pleasure. We're going to do a little bit of snowboarding this weekend, but first, when we got here, big things for us with Doomswell. We were just acquired, and so we're basically up here this weekend with our new team. Brock and I will still be running the brand, but we have a huge group of really awesome people behind us from up here in Utah. And so we're basically just bringing them into, our world and teaching some guys that have made, a great fortune for themselves in the barbecue business, what we do in the wake surf world.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful up here.
Yeah.
This is probably my fourth or fifth time, so I think
Is
I'm the
it?
most excited about snowboarding. Yeah.
I still haven't been to Utah. Where are you snowboarding at?
We're gonna go to a place called Snow Basin. I've never been there. I've been to like Park City and a couple other places around here, but they're gonna take us to Snow Basin. So maybe that's just where the locals go. I don't know.
They said the Olympics were there, and we had to tell them right up front, like, listen, we're not that great of snowboarders. We could surf a lot better than we could snowboard.
And we're dads.
Yeah.
So we don't need to go home broken.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. Our joints get old when we get all fatherly and old, right? How old are y'all's kids?
I have a little boy. His name's Ryder. I think me and you talked about this a little bit, but
Yeah, I got a rider too. We got
yeah,
that in
Ryder.
common.
He turns 3 March 4th, so he's my best buddy, man. He's my world. And
Yeah,
Brock,
I've got three of them. I've got a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 9-year-old. So
Okay, that's
uh,
nice how you space that out.
yeah,
Uh, Matt's about to be out of diapers if you're not already. Three's like, 2.5, three. That's the
dude,
hardest part of raising kids is the diaper phase, man.
I'm so ready, man. And like, I keep hearing about terrible twos, but I'm pretty sure that he's just now hit this stage where, like, I joke with people, man. I tell them, like, dude, come over to the house. I have a full-blown 3-year-old terrorist running around right now.
For
So
sure. No, I remember that. I remembered the horror stories with the terrible twos, and yeah, they're smarter at three, and they're starting to develop that personality a little bit
yep,
more
yep,
at 3 years old. So yeah, they're terrible, terrible
yep.
threes, man.
teenagers is what we
Three
call them.
nagers.
Yeah. So we're just all a few rad dads, like you say, and trying to, out here doing our thing. Uh, there's also a big boat show going on in Utah. Is that near where y'all are staying?
Yeah, yeah, it's in Salt Lake. We're getting ready. We're gonna go to that Friday night. We have already been to several of the boat shows throughout the year. This year, we were just in Denver for the Denver Boat Show. Made that into a snowboard trip
Yeah,
also. But yeah, the shows have been great. Like, I think that people are, the COVID stuff, man. Like, everybody's just really kind of tired of it, and
Yeah, fucking sick
you
of it.
know, I think for the most part, like, people are just ready to get out and do stuff. And I know there was a lot of talk, especially in Dallas, where we're not having a boat show right now. And it's not because of COVID, it's more because of, supply chain issues. There's not enough boats and stuff like that. But,
Mhm.
that I think a lot of people were curious, if trade shows and stuff like that would come back. And I mean, from what we saw, like, I mean, I felt like they were doing great. So I'm sure Salt Lake's going to be a banger of a show. We're looking forward to going and seeing everybody there Friday night.
Hell yeah. And y'all advocate for some of the sickest boats I've seen. I mean, what brand do you use mostly?
So I mostly use Taiga. Like, I do a lot of stuff with Eagle Marine, which now is actually going to be transforming into Next Level Eagle. We just went through a big merger.
Okay.
But I work directly with Next Level Eagle. I've been with them for almost 10 years. in the Taiga boat brand. And yeah, we kill it. It's awesome. Taiga and ATX is an awesome brand because it's a Texas-made brand. So, it's right there in Abilene. A lot of people that live in Texas really, just love the idea of putting their money back in the Texas economy. And man, they make a killer product. So, it's a brand that's been easy for us to get behind. They work well with our surf brand. And they keep us looking fresh on the water. So
Yeah, they
that's a big.
do. That's on. There's Tigers on my bucket list, bro. I'm gonna get one of those one day.
Heck
Uh,
yeah.
so Doomswell, let's talk about that a little bit. First off, where did that name come from?
So really, it was kind of it was an old like high school joke because my last name is Dumois, so that's where the Doom comes from. And then the well, we had to add an S in there so that way it made sense. But Doomswell was basically a conjunction between my last name and my best friend's last name, and people in high school called us Doomswell. And so
Okay.
we needed a unique name for a surfboard company, and we used to be called Blackball back in the day, like long time ago. And then somebody filed for the name, and I was like, well, crap. So what name would kind of stand out? So we were like, Doomswell. I mean, because we were making surfboards together, and so that's how the name came about.
Yeah. So you were black ball before, didn't want to make the transition to blue ball, so you went Doomswell. That's
Definitely
probably a
not.
good choice, man.
Yeah.
I see Matt's van everywhere. Matt's got a sick Doomswell van. I see it all over his social media. That definitely grabs some attention. There's always people hearting that thing, and you got the big speakers in the back. Do you obviously that's not your daily driver? I wouldn't have to imagine. Where are you taking that van? Is that just like a promo thing?
Yeah, essentially, man, part of my background is I worked with Red Bull for a long time. And, one of the things that as I was coming up to the ranks at Red Bull was the event car program. And, I'm not sure how many people have seen it, but Red Bull had this massive military extreme truck. The back would lift
Yeah.
up and all these speakers would come out. And it was like an instant party wherever it parked. Um, so naturally, I wanted to do something like that for the brand. We do fun surf events and demo events and things like that, where we, go and set up a tent, right? And, 10 by 20 tent's cool, but there's nothing, it's just a tent and me and him hanging out underneath it, right? So
Yeah.
we built the van, and the van's ultimately something that we'll drive across country to see accounts. And, we may leave it, in a state and fly home for a week to see our family and then go back or something like that. But, yeah, we take it everywhere. Its purpose is really just to make a lot of noise and create a lot of attention. So when we have all of our stuff out there, people, we don't, no one walks by us without noticing that we're there. So
Yeah, for sure. Like I said earlier, that van really pops. So everywhere you
yeah,
go, I know you attract attention. You probably got people coming up to you at the gas stations and stuff like that, right?
my wife hates it. She already thinks it's weird that like I love a van,
My wife
and
hates
now she's
vans
like,
too.
yeah, now we're at a gas station and some guy's like, hey dude, I love the van. My wife's sitting there, she's like, oh
He's getting the teardrop installed.
yeah, I
pretty
gotta cut
soon.
the window in the back, and then I got the 18 boiler coming. So
Nice,
still got
nice,
improvements to be made, but yeah, the van's cool. It's worked out really well. I do drive it for the most part every day now,
nice.
just
Might as
because.
well.
Yeah, I mean, it's rolling advertisement. I'm all over DFW just about every day, from North Dallas, Louisville to Fort Worth, and then I'm part of Next Level Eagle is we have stores in Lake LBJ, New Braunfels, and then we have another store in Hickory Creek right on the north side of the bridge in Louisville. And so it's really kind of good for me to be in it. And it really kind of surprises me a lot how many times people come up to me like at gas stations or, random places. And they're like, dude, we ride your boards. We love your boards, blah, blah, and
Yeah.
got any free shirts?
Not to
So,
mention that van is heavy enough, you probably get to write that off the taxes too,
yep.
right?
That's that's a big positive side of it, because
Yeah,
I do my daily driver. I have a Duramax that I've done a ton of stuff to, and
I've seen it.
its new home is in the garage where it stays most of the time. But so the van's nice to have.
Yeah. So Doomswell is the wake surf company.
Yep.
So what is it y'all do?
You can.
So we are basically, whenever I describe to somebody what I do, whenever you tell them, oh, we build wake surfboards, they're like, what? Because you talk to a lot of people, they don't know what it is, and because it's such a kind of a niche group, you know what I mean? And I just lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Surf. Wake surfboards.
Oh yeah, wake surfboard. Sorry. Yeah, it's just we're basically a water sports manufacturing company.
Yeah.
That's basically what.
So we can make anything. We focus on the wake surf category because from a water sports perspective, the only category that's actually growing in water sports is wake surf. And so that's been, our number one focus for years. Generally Brock and I handle everything from, so this weekend's a big weekend. This is kind of a cool time for you guys to, have us on because of the fact that, it's such a big change for us. We're going from literally the two dudes you see sitting right here, with a little bit of help from some people behind the scenes managing, not a whole lot, but a little bit. We did it all, man. Like, I mean, if you got a Doomswell board, he boxed it. If you got an email blast or you got a phone call, if you go to our website right now and you go to our contact information, it's his cell phone number and my cell phone number, and
Yeah.
so
That's the straight entrepreneurial journey right there from scratch,
Yeah.
baby.
Guerrilla style.
I mean, we've had this whole acquisition thing has been going on for, man, a year and a half. And so it's been one of those processes where it's been super hard for us to focus on like what we want to do and grow the brand because, we're trying to figure out where everything's really going to land, and now we're sitting here like super hyped that, we're going to be able to do all the things we want to do because we have a team of people behind us. So a lot of the duties that we've done for the last 6-7 years that were just on us, like we don't have any more, we won't have to deal as much directly with the factory overseas. We won't have to, worry about making shipping labels for pallets or anything like that, and
It's going to be able to, free us up to be able
No
to do.
kidding, man. That's going to free up all kinds of time and responsibility and headaches and a bunch of the work that y'all don't like doing, right? That's what you're deferring, right?
Yeah.
We are, but I think that I think the hardest part about this transition is that we're so particular about customer service for our brand that, we're trying to obviously make sure that the new people that come in, the new team is on the same page as us, that, Brock and I are, like I said, it's our cell phone numbers. So I remember, man, it was probably 30 minutes after, I think I talked to you on the phone right after, 30 minutes after my son was born, I was in the hallway talking to an account about some stuff that they had going on, and it's just, that's the level of customer service that we've built this brand on. And I think that's why, we are where we are today,
Yeah,
I say it all
100%.
like this, we're in the people business first.
Yeah.
It's taking care of people and I tell this to people all the time, the cost of a surfboard is not worth all the bad reviews. Like you just turning people around and making them raving fans of your company is kind of what we're good at. We just so happen to sell surfboards. You know what I mean?
That's right. It's a
I
culture.
grab my jacket.
Yeah. Oh, he's getting cold. Utah is cold. I'll tell
I
you
bet
that.
it is cold up there. Well, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that you're in the people business because, most successful businesses, at least, that involve sales to some capacity does need to be in the retail business. If it's not, what you would call a transactional sale, like something you can just pop onto Amazon and, a $30 or $40 transactional purchase, it's not that big of a deal. But when you're selling something that's got some detail behind it and people really need to do their research and due diligence, you're in the people business and you got to spread the word and you got to be face to face. And I think a lot of people that are going to watch this are going to be, in the entrepreneurial setting as well. And I think that's a goal of a lot of entrepreneurs when they first start their business is some type of exit strategy at some point, some type of either selling the business or some type of acquisition like y'all have accomplished. So what does that process look like for an acquisition? Is that something where this is a relationship that you had to spend a lot of time building, or is this a situation where someone saw y'all's fine work from afar and was like, let's go grab those people?
I
I think
mean,
I'd say a combination of both.
yeah.
I mean, we had, before this, we had a partner that was with us that, honestly was just kind of, we were still very hungry to grow the brand. He was never a water sports person, really. He just kind of was a really good friend of ours and wanted to help us get to a point. Well, he had kind of reached the point where he was like, okay, I'm ready to, just go do his own thing, do something different. And we actually, met, Jordan and the team up here and got to talk to them. And, we really, we spent a lot of time going back and forth and talking to them about a lot of different information pertaining to the brand and numbers and, strategies and the way we do things and all that. But I mean,
Well,
they made us, honestly, what I felt like was there was several different groups that looked at us and we felt like we went with the group that
made the most sense.
Yes, right.
That had like infrastructure already put in place, something
Right.
that we didn't have to go back in and rebuild. Because I mean, it's also kind of a culture thing too. I
Right.
mean, so some of the guys that were, another investment group that was looking at us, they had the money, but they just didn't have the
passion.
team.
Yeah.
Right. They wanted us to go out and do all this stuff, but I mean, we'd have to go out and basically start to build new teams.
Yeah.
Whereas now we can this is kind of a plug and play operation now that we've been acquired. So I think that we've made the best choice as far as the team that we're about to start working with. And that's basically, we were in meetings today over, warehousing, shipping, finances, all that kind of stuff. So they have all kinds of things put into place and systems put into place that we no longer have to build.
Yeah, like a big thing that we said a minute ago when you asked about, daily duties, super hard for him to be as involved with the dealer network and the things that he needs to be involved with because he's literally in the warehouse every day, packaging every board and banding pallets and shrink wrapping pallets and, doing, BOLs and all the different stuff we have to do. Where these guys up here, they already have several well-established businesses that are literally in every Walmart, or items that are sold in every Walmart, across the world. So they have a logistics center, like they have the capabilities to take over that shipping side of things. So that just freed up, an enormous amount of time for us.
They also have like an injection molding company where
Exactly.
So it's synergy as well of companies that they already have, or, like I'm saying, things that they already have put in place. So they have like an injection molding company, which will now allow us to create our own technology that we can put into our boards that's proprietary just to us.
Yep.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's synergy. It's awesome.
That is awesome. So, with Doomswell now, you guys are able to defer a lot of this work. What does that relationship look like in the future? Is this, you're going to have to train these people to do things the way you want it, since a lot of the things that you do now are so important for you to keep it that way, like your customer service and everything from A to Z. What does that look like now? You're going to train them for a specified amount of time, and then hopefully they can take the reins a little bit and you guys can have more fun, or what does it look like?
It'll just allow, it's going to free us up to be able to, you'll probably start to see my face a lot more, because every time that we would go out to, any of the video shoots, I'm the one behind the camera. So like, but yet I'm supposed to be a face of a brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't have a selfie stick out the whole time. So I'll be able to do, more tech videos, more lifestyle videos, reach out and do a lot more sales, more product development, stuff like that, stuff that I should be doing. I shouldn't be in a warehouse.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree. You guys still are the faces, and you're still probably mostly responsible for the growth of the
Right.
company, right?
Yeah. And we're still like, I think honestly, like it just truthfully would be more involved You know, I mean, I don't think, you know, I mean, I think it's really more about Brock really being more involved at this point because it's going to free him up more than anything. But I think from an entire company standpoint, what it allows us to do is like just right now, like me and Brock had a meeting yesterday about, you know, building a tour of places that we go and shoot, you know, 5 videos throughout the season with, you know, 5 of our top dealers and top markets or something like that, and really highlight those places and their business because, you know, we're our job is to be an asset to the people that sell our product, right? Like I was brought up with a bunch of OG rep guys that were from the West Coast, and you know, they taught me that, you know, you got to help them be successful in whatever way that is. And sometimes, you know, you'll be at an event and you'll sell another brand's product, and the owner of that company takes notice that that rep's not there and you did that. So when there's reorders, you're going to get those reorders. You know what I mean? And so I think for me, I'm looking at this situation like what we are going to be able to do now to support our dealer network and to feed our customer base with, you know, new products. You know, I mean, we're working on some really cool stuff that's going to be coming out soon. We're not going to drop exactly what that is on this, but you know, there's going to be some new products that are coming out that we're really excited about, and this allows us to have the time to do the right R&D, the right marketing, you know, to get out there with all the people that we need to test these products with and make sure that we're delivering something spot on, you know. So I don't think, I mean,
I'm excited.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's amazing. So y'all have been doing quite a bit of traveling lately, right?
yeah, since the start of January for sure.
Yeah,
We got a lot more.
I mean, with COVID and everything, it slowed down for us. But I mean, back before that, I mean, I was going overseas every 3 months. Like it was constant. And then, you know, going and seeing dealers and stuff like that, you know, back before COVID, it was a lot easier. But now everything's kind of starting to open back up again. So like I'm saying, you'll probably be seeing my ugly face all over the Dooms World stuff now.
And how often are y'all wake surfing yourself?
Man, like I'm pretty blessed, like because I'm so tied in with the Next Level Eagle stuff. You know, we have the ability and access to boats. I mean, you know, we are, you know, we're the largest Taiga dealer in the world, and so we always
Okay.
have, you know, we always have stuff to go ride on. Whereas this guy right here,
I don't
he's
think
about
so.
to be the proud owner of a new Sea-Doo Switch, man.
Fun for the kids.
Nah, all of them are, they're all sick boats. I'm not knocking Sea-Doos. You know, we got some great friends that sell those, and no, I mean
Better than no boat.
we try to ride a lot. I try to ride at least, you know, 3 or 4 times a week during season.
All right.
I'm definitely a fair weather guy. Like when it starts getting about 70 degrees in the water,
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah, I know. We all keep talking about Utah because that's where you flew into. That's where you are right now. But we're all 3 of us are just a few Texas boys, right? Even though
Yeah.
you're from Alabama, right? But
I've
we
been
all
in
live in
Texas.
Texas.
So I've been in Texas since '94.
Okay.
So I've been here for, you know, quite a long time. I moved here,
The
you know, when
majority
I
of
was
your
in
life.
school. Yeah, majority of my life I've been here. My dad started American Iron Horse Motorcycle Company. And so that's what brought us to Texas. We started that here in Fort Worth.
Oh, that's
Or,
badass.
yeah. So
All right. So, uh, let's go back a little bit.
yep.
So, when was Doomswell started? Because you mentioned pre-COVID. How long you
Uh,
been around?
so I started building boards actually back in 2003 for like ocean boards. So I did that for a number of years. There's a whole long story of how I got all that started, but a long story short, you know, I started building boards for friends and family, and then I stopped doing it for a little while for a couple of years just because I had to be, you know, I had to grow up and get a big boy job and support myself. And then in 2008, I got back into making boards again, you know, just for friends, stuff like that. And then come 2010, a guy finds me on Facebook. He had been just following my page of me building surfboards. And he said, "Hey man, you need to build this wake surfboard thing." I was like, nah, you know, I literally thought he was joking because I had never heard of wake surfing. I didn't know what it was. I was like, okay, it's just, you know, some goofy guys trying to do this behind a boat. I had no idea how big the market was or how big it would get.
Mhm.
So I wrote them off for about 6 months. And then one day I'm in the garage where I was building, and I see this pair of flip-flops coming up the driveway. And it's that guy. And he had gotten my information and found my house, I guess, through a friend. And
That's called a stalker, by the way.
yeah,
Right.
he was like, "Hey man, like, I'm sorry, like I showed up, but build me this, please." And so he brings me one over, and I look at it and I'm like, okay, it's basically all the same material that I'm using relative.
Like fiberglass?
Yeah, fiberglass, but the material that I was building with was polyurethane foam and polyester
Okay.
resin, which is
Yeah.
where all of our boards are EPS and epoxy. Now they are. So I built one out of the material that I had, and it ended up being just a complete turd. I mean, just absolutely sucked. But the board that he brought me was, I don't even remember the board that he brought me, but it was kind of jacked up anyway. So I was going off based on what he brought me. So I built another one and another one and another one. And then a couple months go by and I'm doing like 10 grand in a weekend, selling these surfboards. And I'm like, man, that's more than I made all month. Like there might be something to this. And so I just kind of got a little bit of a following. And then a guy found me. I go surfing with that guy, because he had a boat and we were going to go test it out. So we became friends. And so just so happens a guy was coming down from, where's Nathan live? Longview?
Yeah.
Longview, to go down and surf with this guy. So we all kind of just meet in the middle of the state, and we go down there and we surf. And he's surfing a Walker project, which is, a really nice board, really well built, from the West Coast. And so, I kind of look at it, I'm like, okay, all my stuff's all wrong. I said, hey, would you mind testing out boards that I make? So he goes back to Longview. I send him a board, and he gets it. He loves it. And then he goes out, or no, we built him another one because he was going to go do a contest. So, because we needed to tweak it a little bit. So he goes out and he wins a contest on it. And then, he was like, hey, I got a buddy of mine that just sold his company. He's got, some money he wants to invest. Would you want to talk to him? And I was like, well, sure, whatever. So he calls me and he's like, hey, I'm Nathan's buddy, this and that. And, we talked for about an hour, just talking about the business, stuff like that. So at the end of the conversation, he was like, well, okay, well, what do you need to do to take this thing to the next level? And I'm like, well, like, are you serious? Like, what do you mean? And he was like, how much money do you need to get this thing going? I said,
So it sounds like this is something you hadn't even thought about.
Yeah.
I just never thought that I'm a kid in Texas on the Gulf Coast, you know what I mean? And, but I'm still thinking ocean, you know what I mean? I'm not thinking about all the inland opportunities I now have. So at the end of the conversation, I said, I need people, I need machinery, I need this. He said, done. And it was just like that. I was like, I walked inside and I sat down at the table and I said, you're not going to believe this. And I'm talking to my wife. And then after that, it was me and my partner, Brian, at the time, and a guy named Brandon. We all signed the agreement and off we went. And so every night, so we built a really, good sized surfboard manufacturing facility in League City, Texas. So I was working for BP Chemical, or not BP, BP Oil and Gas. And so every night for 2 years, I would go to work. I would go to work at 6 o'clock. I would get off at 5:30. I'd go straight to the warehouse or the factory, and I'd work till 10 o'clock every night for 2 years. Until finally it just got to the point where I was just like, it's do or die. I got to jump. So he just said, dude, I got you. Let's jump. So I jumped. And then that was the first year. The second year we went, I think it was the first year I went to Surf Expo. We were kind of still growing everything, starting to kind of make, the models that were doing really well. And that's how I met Matt. We were at Surf Expo. And we met at Twin Peaks, having
It's the best story ever. It's the best story. Like, he laughs it off all the time, but the first night we were at Twin Peaks in Orlando for Surf Expo. And I don't know if you know what Surf Expo is. It's like the biggest water sports show in the U.S.
It's a huge trade show.
Yeah, trade show. All international dealers from other countries come. It's crazy.
Like Legend, I grew up watching Shape surfboards are there.
They'll just walk by and hang out. Like it's an awesome event. It's also one that you really need to train your liver for. Um,
Been to
one of
some
the-
of those.
River Olympics.
it's for sure. Like you may be in a meeting and someone just get up, walk over, and throw up over there, and come back and sit down.
How many did you want?
Yeah. So, but we were at dinner that night, and I actually, I'd been going to Surf Expo for, gosh, I think the last one I went to was like 19 years straight that I had been going to that I've been with other brands and coming up as, from the athlete side and all that. But we're sitting there at dinner, and we've all been, drinking a few adult beverages, and um, he starts spouting off about these boards that he makes, and I'm like sitting across the way from him, and at that time I was with Next Level Eagle or Eagle Marine, and so I'm like, dude, let me, tell me about this. I'll take some, and Drunk Brock gives me the best pricing I've ever heard of in my life when it comes to surfboards. And so we go home after that, and he calls me that week, and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "super excited you guys are gonna get these boards, but we got to talk about the price." And I already expected that was coming because like I'm one of those dudes that if you say something when you're drinking, like I'm gonna make you own it, And he did, and he owned up to it. Honestly, I think that's really what started our friendship, and then they came to one of the competitions that I was competing in, and they brought me my first like sponsored board, really per se. And pretty much after that, like I was with other brands. I've mentioned that earlier, and he kind of approached me and was like, "Would you, want to just be, straight up with us?" And I think that there's a long process to get from me coming on with these guys is literally just a commissioned sales rep per se
Hmm.
to now us sitting here and being partners, but I think it took, him and I taking it from ultimately what was originally a custom board manufacturer, that, we built boards like that to getting to the point where we have dealers like Evo that buy, $175,000 worth of boards at a time, and we're selling 100 boards at a time, all palletized, as opposed to selling one over here and 3 this weekend. And
That's right.
so I think that's where my value came in. I had been around in the scene for a long time. I worked for Billabong and Conley and Von Zipper, and they were
Speaking
all
of Billabong and surfing, we got the Super Bowl coming up this weekend, right? And the GOAT of football just retired, Tom Brady. He's retired. In my opinion, he went out on. Are y'all football fans, by the way?
oh yeah.
Okay,
I don't really watch football.
not much, but of course you
I'm
know
a
who.
college fan, but yeah, we watch it all.
I'm a motocross, supercross fan.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I watch. That's
Have
my
you ever
football.
heard of Tom Brady?
He plays for the Cowboys, right?
You're so stupid. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I've heard Tom.
So
Great.
so-
Let me tell you real fast. Crazy backstory. We have one of our ambassadors, and his girlfriend or fiance is a New England Patriots cheerleader.
okay.
So yeah, we've heard all about Tom Brady and the Patriots, and then he left, and I was like, thank God it's over. I'm never gonna have to hear from this cheerleader and Chris ever again.
So
Go
Tom
ahead,
Brady
I'm
just retired. He kind of retired on top. So he like won the Super Bowl last year, and then obviously they're out of the playoffs. They didn't make the Super Bowl, but he still was, like number one in every quarterback category. So
Yeah.
we all know him, and they talk about the GOAT of sports. And you hear the GOAT of sports being Michael Jordan for basketball, or Wayne Gretzky for hockey, or Serena Williams for tennis, Babe Ruth for baseball. No one ever talks about surfing, but Kelly Slater just won the Billabong Pro, last weekend?
Last weekend.
Yeah.
At the age of, how old is he? He's in his 50s, right? He's like 52 or something.
Yeah, we gotta look that up. I'm not.
How old is Kelly Slater?
This is what I found.
I don't get that.
He's
Okay.
definitely
Siri's so much dumber than Alexa.
right.
Let me see. Kelly Slater.
He is an absolute just beast on a surfboard, man. That guy.
Greatest of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
Born in 72. So how old is that? I don't know.
That
Oh, he's
yeah, that puts him
49.
at 50,
49.
He's 49.
49.
Yeah,
Well,
About to be 50
what's
then.
today? Oh, he just turned 50
yeah.
because his birthday's February 11th.
Yeah.
Or what's today?
His birthday, he turns
tomorrow.
50 tomorrow. How about that?
Hey,
So,
happy birthday.
happy birthday, Kelly Slater. I hope you're watching this.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
He's the
Well,
GOAT, and nobody talks about it. Like in the sports conversations that you see in the media, never mentioned. But
No.
he's still crushing it.
Yeah, he kills it.
yeah, I don't, I mean, surfing is not as, it's not as much of a mainstream sport, I don't think, as some of
Right.
the other stuff.
It's
So a lot
getting
of
there,
that
though.
stuff gets left behind. I think, honestly, like, I mean, if people ever took the time to really look at what these guys do in surfing, I mean, Kelly Slater is an absolute animal on a surfboard, but, for me, Kai Lenny is,
He's
I
a
mean,
beast,
he's
too.
probably the best waterman, in the world, and he's a young dude. He's still got a long ways to go. But man, from what he does in surfing, big wave surfing to foiling to, just about every
That's something I want to try too. I want to try foiling.
I
Y'all done
had,
that?
yes, dude. So like I had the opportunity to take I took 3 Tigers down to Lake Travis, and we had Kai Lenny and Ian Walsh and Jamie O'Brien.
No way. Yeah, Jamie
Yeah.
O'Brien there.
Yeah, we had Jamie
Badass, dude.
O'Brien. We had what's the snowboard dude's name that was in Art of Flight?
I forget his name.
Travis Rice was there, but John Jackson was on the boat with us. Letitia Buffoni from skateboarding. So we had all these athletes, but the highlight of the day for me was Kai. Like Kai brought his foil,
Yeah.
and was literally just hijacking every other boat on the lake's wave. Like they'd come by, and he would just take off, pump over there, and get in their wave and surf with them for a little bit, and then I'd circle back
badass.
around and he'd get
You
back
just
in
see him
behind
pumping
our
and-
boat.
Yeah, it was cool.
You know who else I like that hijacks waves? And I'm not going to remember his name right now, but I see his stuff all the time. It's that skimboarder guy. He's like got the dreadlocks, and he has those videos of him skimboarding from like he'll like run off of a dock or something. There'll be a wake boat coming like this, and he'll just skim into the wake and start surfing it on his skimboard.
Yeah, he's pretty talented, man.
He's real talented.
He's that, that's another thing, like most people don't know, but like he in his category of surf and skim, like he
owns
is.
What's that guy's name?
Anybody? Austin Keene.
Austin Keene. Yeah. That guy's badass.
Yeah, he's
Really
really,
good.
really good.
Does
Yeah,
all
he's
kinds of flips and stuff too.
He makes great content.
man, him and the Flegel brothers, like Noah Flegel and his brother Keenan.
Yeah.
They are just like those guys, like what they're doing with strap boards right now, and like, I mean, throwing flips on foils and stuff like that is just,
They're the ones pushing.
they're
you know,
changing
the
wake
advancement.
surfing and foiling and everything. Noah is actually an absolute beast on a board for,
No matter what board.
wakeboarding. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like there's a bunch of those. There's a bunch of younger guys that are coming up right now and girls that are just, on another level. And, we watch it every day with just, all the other sports and stuff. We're both big moto fans. I'm actually an announcer for a lot of UTV races and stuff like that. Just the level of progression across everything right now. I mean, I know products and everything and technology is getting better, but I mean, I feel like some of these people that are coming up, these young people, are just like superhuman with what they can do in their, respected sports, man.
And they're starting them so young.
Yeah.
They're just ridiculous.
That's that's where they get super athlete levels when you start them at like 4 years old.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of these 4-year-olds out there wake surfing and just crushing it.
Well, it's hard. You got a boy. I have a boy. He's got kids. I don't know about y'all, but there's days when I look at Ryder and I'm just like, bro, we're wasting days, man. Like you need to get on this stage so you can learn how to hold the throttle pin, but it's just crazy. You know what I mean? Some people have the natural ability that, you know, they're born with, you know, to do certain sports just amazingly well is, you know, it's crazy, man. Like I definitely wasn't, you know, blessed to be the best snowboarder, but you know, we come up here and have a good time, and
We ride the blues.
yeah, yeah, we stay on the dad slopes.
We got
Yeah.
kids that work the
No,
same.
no ACL injuries this time, right?
Yeah, we have that one buddy, Dustin Martin, that likes every time we come, you know, we pretty much, you know, plan for some rehabilitation and things like that when he's with us. But, you know, on trips like this and trips like the last one in Denver, it was like, hey man, let's keep it easy, okay?
We did. It was awesome.
Just
So-
keep, one edible only before we hit the slopes. So for everybody that's not in the know, because there's probably a lot of people that don't understand the difference between wakeboarding and wake surfing.
Yeah.
Just briefly describe the difference. I think everybody can kind of understand, but also because I've wakeboarded,
Right.
I've never wake surfed. What is the difference in difficulty level? Like, someone who's can jump up on a wakeboard like relatively easily, can I jump up on a wakes? Can I surf?
Yeah, I mean, I tell this to people all the time. You've got your sea legs. You know what I mean. You know what it's like to be up on a board. You know how what it feels like to be pulled up with a rope.
Mhm.
As long as you have those fundamentals, the only thing that's going to be different, well, a lot of things are different, but from like a comfort standpoint is, you know, you're not going to be strapped in with boots,
Right.
so you're a little bit freer. But the constructions are completely different. The dynamics of the bottoms of the boards are completely different. We use different cores than they do. So construction wise, and also, you know, speed wise. And this is kind of my theory on why I think that wake surfing is really taking over wakeboarding, is because wakeboarding came up. It was awesome for a long time, you know, back in the day of Parks Bonifay and all those guys, back when, you know, I used to like wakeboarding. But after a while, those people, just like you said a second ago, nobody wants to blow out an ACL anymore. Nobody wants to take those hard hits at 22 to 24 miles an hour. So you are now able to stay on the lake doing sports that you love to do, but do it at a very low impact, because we're going 10, 12 miles an hour max.
Yeah,
And
pumping
falling.
out those wakes.
Yeah. And so that's why I think that surfing is really kind of taken over, or why that generation is still able to move on and still live that lake life that they like, is because now we're able to offer them, you know, a very low impact sport and still allow them to live the lake life that they want.
Yeah, and from another viewpoint on that, like, you know, wake surfing did a lot to really save you know, inboard boat sales in general, because boats prices kept going through the roof, right? And your typical guy that likes to wakeboard is a younger guy. So as prices keep going up, they kind of started pricing themselves out of their buyers, you know, budget. And a lot of the guys that were skiers and barefooters, and you know, they had, you know, gotten older and, you know, recovered from several knee surgeries and had decided that they were going to get a runabout or a fountain or something like that, you know, and just get out of the towboat game because their bodies wouldn't allow them to do it anymore, are now back, right? Like they're back buying towboats, they're back buying surfboards, because man, one of the coolest things, I remember the last pro wakeboard tour stop that I was at was in Branson, Missouri. And I met this old man. He was probably like 87. I mean, old dude, barely walking around on the beach out there. And me and him got to talking, and he was like, dude, I surf every day. And I was like, that's sick, right?
Wow.
You know, like this dude told me his story, and I never really thought about it from that perspective, but he had completely like written off water sports. Like, I'm going to the lake, I'm taking hot chicks. I want 2 big blown motors and a boat that does 100, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't look like that guy, which there's nothing wrong with that guy. But whenever, you know, surfing kind of blew up and he went out and tried it, like it allowed him to go back to like what his roots were, right?
Yeah.
And it brought back a joy that he hadn't had in a long time, because
That's a big deal.
you can't do, I mean, it's hard,
It's
right? Like,
nostalgic.
you know, we talked
Yeah.
about it just a second ago. The products and everything keep getting crazier, right? Like we keep getting these boats that we can put more and more. We're at 4,000 pounds of ballast in these boats now. You know, I remember when we first started this and we were putting buckets of cement on whichever side the person was going to surf. And the boat literally had to run all the way across the lake the whole entire day with it like that, because we were only
Right.
setting it up.
I've seen it. I've seen people do that.
Yep.
You know, now we're in a day and age to where, you know, now we're putting, we used to put, you know, 1,000 pounds with people weight and everything else we could put in there, you know, whether that be workout weights to, you know, anything to make the boat surf, you know, and now the waves are so big, dude, that like people are like, I mean, we're literally having to make boats now where we can tame the wave down a lot, you know, and that's, you know, that's kind of the thing. Like, and they just keep getting bigger, you know, like,
It's only progressing.
yeah,
I mean, just kind of another analogy is like, remember freestyle motocross whenever we were growing up, you know, I remember Edgar Toronteras, or I think that was his name, whenever he did the thing where he puts his, you know, the
the
thing up
Cordova.
on the Cordova. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
his name. Back from like whenever we grew up watching motocross, we thought that was insane. But then the progression that you're seeing like today in the X Games is completely different. So I think with with all these boats getting bigger and better, it's only going to progress the sport even more.
You know, and from our standpoint, like, you know, we maintain really good relationships with a lot of the manufacturers and stuff like that. We do a lot of traveling to get to ride all the boats and stuff like that because it's just as much on our part, right? Like if they're making these boat waves that much bigger and that much gnarlier, we've got to build our boards to work better for every time that they make a, you know, massive increase in
Right.
something that they do to the boat as far as how the wave is, you know, and you know, we have boards that, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Every boat has its own different characteristics as far as a wave is concerned, you know, and we have boards that certain boat brand customers absolutely love to ride behind their boat. And then, you know, they don't like this model, you know, so it's kind of a challenge for us to keep up with the new technology also and keep our products evolving to match up with what they're doing. But
Yeah. Hey, that's kind of cool though. You get to travel around and do that type of due diligence. That's what I want to do.
It's a
yeah,
rough day whenever you got to go out
it's
and
a,
surf, man.
yeah.
So, all
Especially
right.
when it's cold.
Well, I want to know something. I'm gonna write this down too because I'm gonna put it down somewhere. But since you guys are pretty well traveled and well surfed, I want to know your top 5 favorite lakes,
It's gonna be hard
Top
to
5
put in
favorite?
order.
or top 3 if you can't think of 5.
I know. Okay, I'm gonna say number one is gonna be Bull Shoals
Yep.
for me.
What
Yeah,
is it?
Bull Shoals. So like Bull Shoals, Arkansas.
Arkansas. All
Yeah,
It's actually in Flippin, Arkansas.
yeah.
right.
It's
I
like
like
on the
that.
Arkansas-Missouri border.
It's like northeast Arkansas. It's a pretty far huck, but it's really part of like the White River. It feeds the White River, so it's up in the mountains. It's I'm gonna agree with you on that. It's one of the coolest places we go. We go there and do a 60-foot houseboat, bring our surf boats, and we go out. We don't see anybody for about 5 days.
Oh
And
man, that sounds amazing.
man,
awesome.
it's
Bull
beautiful.
Shoals,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bull
yeah,
Shoals.
Arkansas.
yeah.
Never heard of it, but gonna look it up now. Uh, so that's your favorite because of the mountain scenery, I guess, and just
It's kind of like rolling mountains, I guess.
I think it's, you know, it's the favorite. It's my favorite for the reasons of the scenery around the place is just absolutely dope, right? Like you have trees and mountains and all this. I mean, I'm not gonna call it mountains. Like I'm looking at my
Snow-capped
window
mountains,
right here,
right.
snow-capped mountains.
remember
Like,
we're from Texas, so they're
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
mountains.
yeah. So there's some big ass hills. I'll say
Well,
that.
they're in the Ozarks. It's in the Ozarks.
But
Okay.
that is really cool about it. The other thing is, man, like it's not super crazy busy. So the water is literally like it's the best water I've ever been to. It's super
Classy.
visible. Yeah, like you can
Yeah.
see 10,
I've never seen a
15
white
feet
cap.
down underneath you while you're riding.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's
So it's
amazing.
just a super, everything about this place. Like we go and man, there's awesome pictures. I wish we could show you one like through this thing, but we go and we set up a boat and we basically get all of our food. We go to the flipping Walmart in Flippin, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And we get all of our stuff, man. We cook, every night, and we're out in the middle of the lake. We ride sometimes at night.
We'll bring out a big old screen, like
200-inch projector and screen and
We'll
set it
play-
up on top.
We'll play video games and race each other. And
That is sick.
Watch Joe Rogan shows
Yeah.
and
All right. Well, I need to invite to the next one of those for sure.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Lake number two. Lake number two favorite lake.
For me, based on water clarity and also proximity to me, is going to be Canyon Lake in New Braunfels, or Canyon Lake, Texas, but near New Braunfels.
Yeah,
Definitely
Well,
heard of
very
that one.
little.
Yeah, he doesn't like it as much as I do, but I love it.
Yeah. Well, water clarity I think is important to me too. I like
the
clear
Caribbean.
water.
It's crazy.
Is it? I've never
Yes.
been to Canyon Lake. I've been to the.
Yeah, it is really clear. I think the only reason I'm not as much of a fan of it is it gets busy during the summer and there's not a lot there, right? There's no houses on the water.
It's a cool
Mm.
lake.
It's a core lake, so I don't know, the house stuff really doesn't bother me, but from a standpoint of us traveling in and like filming and doing stuff on that lake, the logistics side of it is really hard because we can't stay on the water. So we're always towing boats back and forth to places, and it's kind of a pain, but the lake is cool.
We shot a video there before. It looked really good.
We'll be there later this season for one of our stores, Next Level Eagle. If anybody listens from the Braunfels area, go in and check them out. They're down there, and I'll be putting on a reunion with them for their store down south at
Nice.
on Canyon Lake this year. So it'll be all Tyga and ATX's big party. But my number two is gonna blow your number two smooth out of the water.
Oh, I think I know where this is.
Let's
going.
go.
My number two is definitely, I'm taking it straight to Havasu, man. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
Arizona.
yeah.
Oh,
Havasu,
that's on my list. All right.
I like Havasu, man. I'm gonna tell you straight up. If you're going to Havasu to surf, you're gonna have to go like find you the best spot you've ever found in your life and get the luckiest. Because when I was there, the water was kind of rough, but the vibe in Havasu is just super cool. Obviously, we went to London Bridge and cruised the channel and or the canal. I'm not sure what they call it, channel, canal, something like that. But it's a party, and I'm definitely at that stage where I don't get to do that very much.
I hear you.
So, when we were cruising through, I was like, this is a good spot. We could hang out here for a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's just a really cool place. The scenery is really awesome. It's kind of the desert, man, but it's dope, man. Like
It's beautiful too. Arizona is absolutely beautiful, and I think it's underrated.
like Mars.
Yeah, it really does, man. We landed in Vegas and we went out like basically towards Henderson and then went out through Searchlight and drove out that way. And the whole time I'm just looking around and I'm like, dude, like
Looks like Mars.
there's aliens here somewhere.
You're not that far from Area 51. Huh?
It's which takes me to my number 3 lake, which is Lake Mead.
Lake Mead?
Yeah,
I've heard of it. Where is that at?
Boulder, Nevada.
It's basically right outside of
The Hoover Dam.
The Hoover Dam's on it. It's right outside.
Okay.
There. It's just that lake's super cool. It's really big. It's got great stories. There's a whole city, in the bottom of that lake. And when we were out there,
What do
it was
you
really
mean?
tricky. Like
They flooded the
they
city.
flooded the city
You can scuba dive down
and go like in the streets and
You
see
can?
the building. Yeah.
It's a little
Whoa.
creepy for me. I'm out, but
The other cool thing too, I think, is like the water line
Yeah.
on the rocks to see, how far the water's come down on Mead over the years. It's
the water's super clear too.
yeah. It's
Very
also really cool too because it's like, 45 minutes from Vegas.
Yeah.
So like if you want to lose some
Hey.
money and surf at the same time,
Yeah.
it's the best spot.
Yeah, we did that. We went out to Fremont Street and we hit the strip for a little bit
Yeah.
that night, and we were just watching we were just doing all kinds of people watching. It was awesome.
Yeah, gotta love Vegas.
Yeah.
I think, for places I've been, those are my favorite out west. I think there's still some places, going out east. I'm from Alabama, Lake Martin in Alabama and or not Lake Martin, Lay Lake in Alabama or Lake Martin's a good one too. But there's, for me, it's the trees and the stuff around the lake. Like in Texas, like we get to look at, not a lot of times there's
I'm from the dirty
dude, there's
South.
nothing, so it's cool to go to any of these other places and just get to,
Yeah.
check out some cool spots. I know one spot that's in Texas that we love that we didn't mention that would probably, from a filming perspective, would probably rate up there as, number one, really with me with Bull Shoals is Caddo Lake in East Texas.
The only natural lake in Texas.
Yeah,
That's correct.
yeah, and it's super cool. Like, it sounds like you know enough about this to know
I learned
about
that in 4th grade in Texas history.
Yeah.
So they have a ditch. They call it the government ditch, right? The government
so.
dug this ditch between the swamp and the main body of water, and it's literally just as wide as the boat, and it's probably what, like a mile or so long.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
And it's the coolest thing ever. Like, we drove this thing and did some photos in it, and it is the most nerve-wracking thing to do in a $200,000 wake boat.
Because there's
But
stumps everywhere.
yeah, I mean, we're in a swamp. There's alligators. There's, so it's crazy, man.
Big gar.
There's a million different places that I could probably say are my favorite places to
Yeah.
go. I mean, we've been on the Tickfall River in South Louisiana, like, filming down there when, I mean, we were literally ollieing boards over like gators. You know what I mean? Like, it was probably one of the scariest things ever to do in the water. But
Yeah.
luckily gators hate boats, and when the boats come by, they typically will get away from them. So we were safe most of the time. Nobody got anything bitten off, at least.
Hey, would have made for some good content anyways.
I know. Well, you could definitely see it in the people who are really scared because the riding was just terrible. And I'm
Very
like,
stiff.
you don't want to fall. Like, don't fall.
All right. Well, we're almost out of time, so we'll start wrapping up.
Cool.
But the main part of this is to let everyone know what y'all's mission is, and y'all are going through some big things, huge acquisition. So I'd like to say congratulations on that again. I mean, that's just a dream come true. What does the next year, 5 years, 10 years look like? What are y'all out to accomplish from here?
I think about that a lot. I mean, kind of my personal goal is to, grow the company to about 5 million in sales a year. That's just kind of my personal goal. Kind of like, whenever I'm kind of sitting in the truck, I'm kind of running through my goals in my head, and, you say them out loud, just to kind of verify it with yourself. And so that's kind of my idea that I have in my head, or kind of the goal that I want to hit personally. And how we're going to do that is we've got several other branches of the company that we're about to really start attacking. So, I mean, Doomswell is just one small part. Yes, that's how we started. That was the catalyst to kind of, help everything. But now we see the big picture of how wide we can spread our net, I guess I should say. So we're about to catch a lot more fish.
That's
Sorry.
awesome.
You kill that real fast.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's all kinds of other niches within the same niche that you can pursue. Mick Fanning got rich off of a sandal that's got a beer bottle opener on the bottom of it, right?
Yep.
So you can think of the craziest thing, and they could just set your business on fire. You just never know what might happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with Brock on that. Like, I don't know, man. I think the goal for me every day is, I haven't ever really set any solid goals as to where I think would be our end point of what we could accomplish or anything. I think that, the number one goal for me and everything we do ultimately, and I know you share the same thing, is whatever we're going to do in the next year, 5, 10 years is going to be for our families. I mean, that's why this acquisition was so amazing for us is, I mean, we're blessed to get to do what we do, but, we do what we do every day because I want Ryder to get, and my wife to have a wonderful life, and he wants his kids to. And so I haven't really set a goal as to where that will change for me, or where that will end or where we'll decide to. My goal basically, every day with whatever we do is, get up and give it everything that I got and own that day because that's all I can control at that moment.
That's right.
And, you know, I think that if we do the things we have been doing and, you know, we handle our business and try to be, you know, the best that we can be at whatever it is we're trying to be. What is that, the Army or some shit? I think if we did, I think if we do that, there is no cap. You know what I mean? Like, I think that,
Just
you
keep
know, we
pushing.
can do really anything. I mean, you know,
I mean, if we could hand this down to our children
yeah,
and, you know,
Well,
say
that's the opportunity you have to create some generational wealth with everything
Yeah.
you're building, and you know, all of this that you're building too is also going to help cement your legacy further on down the road. And when you're in the grind every day, like you said, Matt, like you're focusing on what you can control, you don't think about that a lot.
Yeah.
But all of that hard work is going into your personal legacy that you leave for your kids and everybody else that is going to end up falling in love with you guys. And I think you're doing it the right way. You're making a huge splash. You're dominating the sector. You're the future of wake surf. So I appreciate having you guys on. This is y'all are a couple cool dudes. I appreciate knowing you. I
yeah.
expect to be invited to Bull Shoals, Arkansas, next time that happens,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Man. Definitely let you know.
I'll be there.
All right, cool, man. Well,
Thanks
it's
for
nice
having
meeting
us,
you.
man. This was a good time. Enjoyed talking with you.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good rest of your night. Enjoy Utah, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, man,
Awesome.
thanks.
All right, later.
Later.